Zack Snyder's 300 exploded into cinemas in 2006 like a spear through a Persian emissary's chest. Based on Frank Miller's graphic novel, which itself took inspiration from the historical Battle of Thermopylae, the film retells the story of 300 Spartan warriors who fought to the death against the massive invading Persian army. Drenched in style, violence, and testosterone, 300 is a cinematic spectacle that polarized critics and thrilled audiences. It's a film as much about myth-making and visual bravado as it is about ancient heroism. One cannot review 300 without first addressing its stunning, now iconic visual style. Snyder employed a highly stylized, almost painterly aesthetic that brought Frank Miller's graphic novel to vivid, visceral life. Nearly every frame looks like a page torn straight from a comic book, thanks to extensive use of chroma key compositing and digital backdrops. The film was shot mostly on a soundstage using blue screen technology, allowing the production team to meticulously control every visual element. The desaturated palette, dominated by bronze, crimson, and sepia tones, lends a mythic timelessness to the story, transforming historical figures into demigods. Snyder's use of slow motion and speed ramping during combat sequences became a hallmark of his directorial style, adding weight and theatricality to the action. These choices amplify the Spartans' almost superhuman prowess and make each battle feel like a ballet of carnage. At its core, 300 is a simple but archetypal story. A small group of elite warriors led by the proud King Leonidas, Gerard Butler, make a defiant last stand against a vastly superior force. The Spartan sacrifice is not just for survival, but for principle, honor, freedom, and resistance against tyranny. The film frames the narrative through the voiceover of Dilios, David Wenham, a Spartan soldier and storyteller. This narrative device adds a layer of mythology and exaggeration to the events, suggesting that what we're seeing is less historical fact and more the birth of a legend. This approach frees 300 from the burden of strict accuracy, allowing it to indulge in larger-than-life depictions of characters and events. However, beneath the spectacle lies a tale about nationalism, sacrifice, and the seductive power of martial valor. While some have criticized the film for promoting militaristic or authoritarian ideals, others view it as a meditation on the price of freedom and the power of unity in the face of overwhelming odds. Gerard Butler's portrayal of King Leonidas is the muscular heart of the film. With his piercing eyes, booming voice, and commanding physical presence, Butler embodies the very idea of Spartan courage. His now famous line, "This is Sparta," has become a meme and pop culture staple, but in the film, it lands with raw, primal force. Lena Headey brings dignity and strength to Queen Gorgo, providing one of the film's few grounded, emotional performances. She is far from a passive figure. Her scenes in Sparta, particularly her political maneuvering, add necessary weight and complexity to the otherwise male-dominated narrative. Rodrigo Santoro's portrayal of Xerxes, the god king of Persia, is another highlight. Tall, androgynous, and dripping with gold, his Xerxes is a towering figure of menace and decadence. Though clearly exaggerated, this depiction fits the film's mythic tone. David Wenham as Dilios delivers a compelling narration and adds a touch of humanity to the otherwise relentless machismo. The battle sequences in 300 are the film's main draw, and they deliver in spades. Each fight is meticulously choreographed, showcasing the Spartans' discipline, tactics, and brute strength. The phalanx formation, the clash of shields, and the whirling spears all combine into a visual and auditory feast. Snyder's use of slow motion is both a stylistic flourish and a narrative tool, highlighting the precision and grace of Spartan warfare. The action is undeniably brutal, with severed limbs, geysers of blood, and gritty hand-to-hand combat, but it's rendered with such artistry that it rarely feels gratuitous. Instead, the violence becomes a kind of visual poetry, a stylized tribute to heroism and sacrifice. 300 was not without its critics. Some viewers and historians pointed out the film's historical inaccuracies and Orientalist portrayal of the Persians. Xerxes and his army are depicted as monstrous, effeminate, or otherwise inhuman, leading to accusations of racial caricature and ideological bias. The Spartans, meanwhile, are portrayed as paragons of virtue, an oversimplification that flattens the complex realities of ancient societies. Moreover, the film's glorification of violence and unwavering admiration for Spartan ideals sparked debates about its political subtext. Critics on both the left and right debated whether 300 was a cautionary tale, a fascist fantasy, or or simply a stylish action film with no deeper message. Despite, or perhaps because of, these controversies, 300 struck a chord with audiences. Its clear dichotomy between good and evil, its masculine idealism, and its visceral aesthetics resonated strongly in a post-9/11 cultural landscape hungry for stories of resistance and heroism. 300 was a cultural phenomenon. With a relatively modest budget of around $65 million, it grossed over $450 million worldwide. It inspired countless imitators, parodies, and even a 2014 sequel, 300, Rise of an Empire, which failed to capture the same lightning-in-a-bottle impact. More importantly, the film left an indelible mark on the action genre. Its visual language influenced everything from Spartacus, the TV series, to Game of Thrones and even video games. It launched Zack Snyder's Hollywood career and established him as a director with a unique, if divisive, artistic voice. 300 is not a film for everyone. It is loud, stylized, unapologetically macho, and narratively simple. But for those who appreciate its aesthetic and mythic aspirations, it remains a compelling, adrenaline-pumping cinematic experience. More than a retelling of history, 300 is a visual poem about courage, glory, and sacrifice. It elevates its characters into legends, transforming a historical last stand into a tale of epic defiance that still resonates nearly 2 decades later. Whether you see it as art, propaganda, or just a testosterone-fueled action movie, one thing is clear. 300 made an impact and left a scar on the cinematic battlefield. Tyler Bates composed the film's score, which perfectly complements the epic visuals. The music blends orchestral swells with heavy metal guitar riffs and choral chanting, creating a soundscape that's both ancient and modern. The score heightens the emotional impact of key scenes, especially during moments of sacrifice or rallying speeches. Sound design is also a standout element. The clash of swords, the roar of battle, and the thunderous war cries immerse the viewer in the battlefield experience. The auditory elements are not just background. They drive the momentum and emotional rhythm of the film.